What's up, all my Ewoks, Tribbles, Droids, and Wookiees? It's Anna, also known as that Star Wars girl, and today I'm going to be talking about Star Trek Picard. Now, like I said, I'm not going to be doing reviews of these episodes because they are garbage. It is not worth my time and energy. Just watching them is painful enough. And the reason why I continue to watch them is because there is still a part of my soul that has a shred of hope that something good might come out of this, that someone out there in the ether might hear, just have some kind of common sense or common ground on it. And there was a shred of good things that happened in this episode, which was seeing Riker, but this being the final episode, they decided to shoehorn in at the very end, the last 10 seconds of this episode, that 7 of 9 is a lesbian or is bisexual. Because, when I was watching this, instead of doing reviews to things that I think are shit that are not worth my time, what I do is while I'm watching it, I live tweet my reactions. I'll take a screenshot of what I'm watching, I post it on Twitter going, what the fuck is this? Or like, what the hell am I watching? And, the people get my live instant reactions to watching things. I did this with The Rise of Skywalker. I didn't do a review of it on here on my channel. It's not worth my time and energy. I hated that movie. I will never watch it again. And again, I watched it from the comfort of my own home because there was no way in hell I was paying money for that shit show. And same thing with this. I was sitting here in my office in the comfort of my own home, watching it, having my eyes be raped for what this Star Trek or want-to-be Star Trek catastrophe is, and I live tweeted my reactions. And people, noticed similarities between things. There was one scene where there's over 200 Romulan warbirds, one ship that, Picard and Agnes are in, and then all of these space flying defense orchids are coming out, and there's going to be this epic battle. Somebody recognized the fact that this scene had been completely ripped off from some video game called Mass Effect. Now, I'm not a gamer per se. The only games I've ever really played is Diablo 3, the original Mario, and KOTOR. And I just finished KOTOR for the first time a few days ago. So I'm not a video game person. So the fact that somebody showed exactly how this scene from Star Trek Picard was exactly ripped off from Mass Effect. It's like, and this has been going on throughout the show. Every single episode, somebody finds a similarity of how they ripped off a scene, or they ripped off something else, and then they shoehorned it into this show. So when I got to the very end, after everything that happened, Captain Picard is now he died. He didn't tell Riker, his number one out of every. Riker named his son after Captain Picard, and Picard is sitting there dying on the deck of the ship, and he doesn't tell Riker, I'm having an episode, I could potentially die. He says goodbye to Riker, and then he starts dying. Soji beams him down to the planet so he can die with people who are practically strangers to him, that he has no emotional connection with, that, none of us audience have any connection with him and these new characters, because it's like, you want to have that emotional impact of Captain Picard dying? Have him do it with Riker, somebody that he has had 7 seasons and movies with, building up that relationship between him and Riker. That is his number one guy, and you're gonna have him not tell him that he's dying, not say, it's my last time I could ever potentially see you or talk to you, let me not tell you I'm dying, and let me die with all these strangers. And so they save his brain pathways, and they put him into an android body with no upgrades, because according to Dr. Noonien Soon's biological son, we knew you wouldn't like that. Captain Picard has a prosthetic heart. He wouldn't be alive if he didn't have upgrades. So don't give me this bullshit. He even says, I would have liked another 10 or 20 years, to my life. That would have been nice, guys. But whatever. So then they're on the ship. They're gonna, I don't even know what the point is now. What are they gonna do? They're gonna go off in space with Rios, who is somebody that is hired by Captain Jean-Luc Picard to go do stuff. It doesn't make any sense what they're doing, what their mission is, but it shows how Rios is sitting in the captain's chair. Agnes leans down and kisses him because they're a couple now, even though they just slept together once. He found out that she murdered her ex-boyfriend in cold blood. Then she regretted it. Then she was losing her shit. But what now? Now he's okay with dating a murderer. All right, fine. And then it zooms down to Seven and Raffi drinking. All right, no harm done, whatever. They're just drinking. And then Raffi puts down her cup and Seven goes out of her way to grasp Raffi's hand and intertwine her fingers, like, and they're, gazing into each other's eyes like they're this romantic couple. And it's like, you 2 episodes where you interacted with this woman, or where these 2 characters interacted. It was the one where they go to Free Cloud, and it's barely any interaction. It's Seven talking to Picard. It's them putting on the costumes. Raffi takes off to go see her son that is pissed off at her because her son's going to have a baby with some Romulan chick. And Seven's with Picard, and she needs to go settle some old, scorns between her and the chick that betrayed her, that, wanted to just use her and use Egypt to harvest their Borg technology. And then, Seven goes with him, reveals that she was lying to Picard, that she actually had dealings with this woman, and that she was there for revenge. Picard tries to talk her out of it. She beams out to the planet and kills her. She kills her. She's like, you killed Egypt? I waited 13 years. I knew where you were this entire time. I could have easily come within 13 years and gotten my revenge, but for whatever reason she didn't, and she decided to do it now. Doesn't make much fucking sense, but and then she's like, all right, deuces, Picard. She goes back with the Rangers, then she shows back up on the Borg cube later on, and then so that little bit that she was on the ship, where she beamed over, she talked to them, kind of explaining what this planet was on Free Cloud, explaining kind of the people, talking about the costumes, and then they went their separate ways. That was the only interaction she really had with Raffi. And then even on the planet, in this last episode, she has more time talking to Rios, sitting there talking to Rios, drinking. Even on their mission, they didn't really interact with one another. There has been nothing to build up the fact that they are in a romantic relationship, or that they had any interest in each other. If anything, the only buildup that they really had was with her and Rios. I thought, they're sitting there drinking. That's the only thing that my mind is able to, cross-reference, is that, all right, he's actually her type. From what we have seen, Seven likes tall, dark, and handsome type of men. She had her husband when she was, connected with the Borg. And for those of you that do not know, if you didn't watch Voyager, 7 of 9, when she was a Borg, there was an abnormality in Borgs. When you're plugged in to the Borg cube in the hive mind and you are regenerating, which is sleeping, your consciousness goes to this place, and it's all people, they're all individuals. When they wake up, they don't remember. When they're in the drones, they don't remember. But every night they go to sleep, and they go and they live their lives. She had a husband in that little, Borg collective mind thought place. She had a husband there. Then later on, when she was trying to discover herself and discover her sexuality and discover, what it's like to be in a relationship, she chose Chakotay. She set up a holodeck program where she was in a relationship with Chakotay, and it was even interfering with work. And she tells the doctor about it. She's embarrassed about it, and we already know that the doctor's been interested in her. But she says, I kind of have this holodeck program because I wanted to know what it would be like to be in a relationship with someone. She could have chose a woman. If she was interested in women, she could have gone and chosen a woman. No, I don't think anyone would have batted an eyelash, because that's not abnormal for something to happen in Star Trek. You having characters that are bisexual, that are, gay, that are, I don't know what the extent of it is, pansexual, all of that. That is not out of the normal for something like that to happen in Star Trek. Heck, they have interspecies, different species relationships. So if anything, out of all of the sci-fi things that at least that I've seen, this is the most progressive and open-minded as far as the exploration of sexuality. It wouldn't have been out of the normal. I don't think anyone would have gotten offended by it. I definitely wouldn't. Yeah, it's she's going and exploring her sexuality, or how she wants to be in a relationship. Who does she pick? She doesn't pick a woman. She picks a man. She picks Chakotay. That is who she's interested in. It has always been built up and led up to that 7 of 9 is a straight woman, that she is interested in men. We have never seen her pursue a romantic relationship with a woman. There's nothing wrong with that if they would have built it up and had some character development to her, discovering that about herself. And that's very, normal for people that when they're younger, they, think that they're straight, and, they have families, they get married, they have children, and then later in life they realize, hey, I'm gay, or I'm this, or I'm that. And, they make a big life change. That is not out of the norm normal. That is, that's actually something that I think is pretty common. And I'm a human. I can understand that later in life you discover that. But you need to show that in the show. If you don't want it, instead of just shoehorning it in at the end to have the, the little token, bisexual or LGBTQ plus character. And if you wanted to do that, you could have had Seven have a scene talking with Raffi. They could have had a scene where they're sitting there drinking and talking about their life, which would have made a lot of sense. Just have Raffi say, oh yeah, I was married once, like I had a son, and have how 7 of 9, Egypt was like a son to her, how them both talking about how 7 lost her son. The last time they saw each other, 7 got revenge. Raffi could have been like, oh, what happened with that? Like, you went back and killed her, didn't you? Like, I knew that she pissed you off for some reason. 7 could have said, yeah, she wanted to steal my cortical node, but Egypt, who's like a son to me, he gave me his, and they were killing him to try to find his, but I had it all along, and I'm gonna live with that regret because I couldn't save him. And then Raffi could go and say, hey, you know what? I had a husband, I had a son, but nobody would listen to me. I knew Starfleet was being shady, which again, they never brought this up again in the show, that Raffi knew all along that there was this plot within Starfleet with the Romulans and the synthetics. It never got mentioned again. It didn't get resolved in this final episode, which is a huge red flag. Why would you introduce this? Raffi literally threw her life away. She blames it on Picard, even though it was her fault that she decided to resort to drugs and alcohol and not be a mother to her son and not be a wife and a mother in her family and just abandon her family, not include her family in the conspiracy theory that she was aware of, that she had all the evidence for. She didn't tell them what was going on and why she was so frustrated, why she left or got expelled from Starfleet. So it doesn't make any sense. It didn't get resolved, but that's basically all of Star Trek Picard. So Raffi could have had that conversation with 7. They could have bonded. Raffi could have said, and she could have said that line where she's just like, what? Honestly, it's for the better because now, older, I was young back then when I got married, when I had a child, and now, I learned a lot of things about myself. And I realized, it's for the greater good that, my marriage didn't last, but I do regret not being a mother to my son. But as far as the marriage thing, that honestly wasn't for me. If there was that little line, and then 7 could have said, I used to, have someone too. I was in a romantic relation, we were stuck in, the Delta Quadrant. On our, way back, I started, seeing someone, meaning Chakotay. She could have brought up Chakotay and given an explanation why he wasn't in the show and said, you know what, I was dating this guy, he, was a second officer, I had even had like a hollow simulated, fantasy version of him, and then, we tried having a relationship when we got back to the Alpha Quadrant and, Beta Quadrant, because it kind of overlaps on where, Starfleet is, but it's mostly in the Beta Quadrant, but when we got back, to Earth, things changed. I realized, we were growing, but we were growing differently ever since, Voyager got back, to Federation space. And, I just went on some soul searching. That's why I wasn't in Starfleet. That's why I didn't pursue that career like she was. And, why she left Janeway, B'Elanna, Paris, Harry, Chakotay, why she's off on her own and being a ranger. And then also, Egypt was in Starfleet. We saw that. He was wearing the Starfleet insignia and the uniform when he got killed. So she could have explained why she decided to go do her own thing, and she was so proud that Egypt was able to, pursue a career in Starfleet. And then, because of her, she's the reason that he got killed, because she decided to go pursue this other career being a ranger, and she got in the mix with all of these, the bad side of society. She befriended someone that actually betrayed her, and people are trying to make the excuse, well, you need to pay attention to the dialogue because it was hinted that her and the bad chick from the planet, the Free Cloud planet, that they actually were in a relationship. There was no hint of that. I have watched that episode multiple times, unfortunately, because I did a full-on review of that episode. There is no hints. There's eye contact. Yeah, there's eye contact of hatred. That wasn't eye contact of, I'm a scorn shoehorned lover. No, that was somebody who fucking betrayed her. Have you not ever been in real life and seen what it's like when you think that somebody's your best friend? And I'm gonna say this, women are fucking catty. Women can be evil as fuck. So I know what it's like to be betrayed by a woman. There's women that have betrayed me in my life, even things that happened 20 years ago, and I still remember that because it's evil. Men are a whole different story. Women, like, they find out what you love and what you like, and they just destroy it, and the most evil people in my life that I've ever met have been women. Let me just put that out there right now. So watching that, it's like that was times when I'm like, okay, the dialogue is terrible, but at least the acting is there. I could see that Jerry Ryan's a very talented actress. You could tell she hated her. She had that passionate anger for her, and that's why I said, if you hate this person so much, if you want revenge so much, why did you wait 13 years? Doesn't make any sense for me. Never did I get the tiniest inkling that it was because they were in a romantic relationship. The way that she carried herself, it seemed like she was, the femme fatale, flirtatious type of air that she carried was in a sense, directed at men like Bruce Maddox as a way of manipulation. Not with Seven. It was a friend that betrayed her, somebody that Seven thought was her friend that betrayed her. Never did I get an inkling that was a romantic relationship. So with Seven, and if Seven could talk to Rat, I know if you want it, and this is me trying to help the people that are writing Star Trek. If you wanted me to believe that Seven is bisexual or LGBTQ+, all of that, if you wanted me to believe that, you could have established it, but you didn't. They shoehorned it in at the end as, let's have the token LGBTQ+ character. It's fucking stupid, and it's insulting to people that actually are LGBTQ+. And I don't see why people are losing their minds. And I made a tweet about this. I just said lesbian. That was me in the heat of the moment making a tweet, and I couldn't fit everything in. I guess, in retrospect, I probably should have just put the abbreviation, because I didn't realize that people lose their fucking minds when you don't include every single one of those and say, do bisexuals not exist to you? It's like, are you fucking stupid? Who the fuck on the planet Earth doesn't know what a bisexual person is? Like, unless you're a very young child or you grew up on an island and you don't have internet, I don't know anyone that's not aware of what that is. The fact that I left it out of a tweet because Twitter only allows you to have so many characters, and I just, in the heat of the moment, I did a tweet and I left out one word. Apparently I'm the embodiment of evil and I don't like inclusion. It's like, all right, let me call up my best friend who's pansexual. Let me, my other friend who's getting married this summer, and she's a lesbian, and she's getting married to her fiance. One of my other best friends. It's like I could go off and list the amount of people I know that are in the LGBTQ+ community. I have more friends that are in that community that are straight. So saying that, I'm not inclusive and I don't like bisexual people just because I didn't include it in a tweet. Are you fucking serious? That's literally when you go out of your way to find something to cry about. And these people are fucking insane that are going and doing that. It's like, I don't know who the fuck you are. I am, just somebody on the internet that posted a tweet to the people that follow me. And if you came onto my Twitter, I've never heard of you, you don't follow me, you don't know anything about me, and you're saying all these horrible things about me. I literally just explained in this video how you can make it, give an explanation as to why Seven would be, part of the LGBTQ+ community. And, same with Raffi. Explain. You were younger, you had relationships, and, with men that were, straight relationships, and then, Raffi realized, later on in life, it's better that my marriage ended, because I actually, that wouldn't have worked for me. That's not, what my heart, that wasn't doing it for me in my heart. That's not, it didn't make me feel full the way love is supposed to. Seven could have said the same thing with Chakotay. The reason why it didn't work out, the reason why Chakotay is not in the show, the reason why Chakotay is not even mentioned, even though the last time we left off on Voyager, they were in a relationship. And people say, it wasn't built up that her and Chakotay were together. It was. She had the entire Hollow program wherein she was fantasizing what a relationship would be, and she picked Chakotay. So we know that she has an attraction for him. We know he's mentioned, Chakotay mentioned it before, before in the show that she's an attractive woman. We know that that attraction is there, and the fact, just because we didn't see, you know, the initial like blossomings of a romance doesn't mean it's not possible. It's very much possible. They laid the groundwork for that in Voyager. Having it come in at the end like that, I felt like it was a little rushed, but that was because it was the last season. So I can make excuses for that. Just like if they just did this simple scene of Seven and Raffi having a drink together and having this conversation about Raffi realizing that it was actually a beneficial thing that her marriage didn't work out, but she's regretful as a mother that she doesn't have a relationship with her son. And the same thing with Seven. Hey, you know, I technically felt like I was a mother to Egypt, and I failed him. He's dead because of me. I'm always going to have that pain in me because I failed him and I couldn't save him in time. And now that I got my revenge, at least I can sleep at night knowing that I avenged Egypt. But, you know, me and Chakotay didn't work out because, again, it didn't fulfill me in my heart and soul, and I've always been searching for my humanity because I was assimilated. I lost that. I lost my individuality, and I've spent my entire life trying to find who I was because I lost decades being assimilated and being stuck as Borg. So now, you know, still trying to find myself, and, you know, maybe there's something that I've been denying that I'm just now coming to terms and realizing. Have them have the scene in like that, no more dialogue, have them make eye contact, and then later on in the show, when they do hold hands, it would make sense. It wouldn't feel as shoehorned in because you have that explanation as to how they got from point A to point B to point C, and how they're going to go and just, you know, explore this new side of themselves together, and hopefully they can find love and find that fulfillment. I'm completely fine with that. That would be fine. It would give an explanation to Chakotay. It would give an explanation as to why Raffi didn't, you know, try to fix her family, and the motivation behind that, but the motivation behind each character. There's a way to do these things if you understand the way that the characters work, their pasts. Raffi, not so much because she was just introduced in the show, but especially with Seven, understanding Seven's past and how to implement that, and just doing some real life, you know, work and looking into, you know, these types of situations, and maybe talking to some people that this has happened. I know for sure as hell I have. I know plenty of people that's happened to, where they've been married, had children, and then later on in life realized that, you know, they were gay or bisexual or pansexual, and, you know, the relationship, while they had that love for the person that they were married to, it wasn't the, you know, passionate type of true love that, you know, makes your heart feel full and like it's gonna, you know, you're so unbelievably happy that your heart's gonna burst out of your chest like the Grinch when he discovers the true meaning of Christmas. You know, that's something that, you know, as a human being, you want to find that, and I think everyone in the world wants to find that true love that's going to make you feel so fulfilled because you find your partner in life. I can relate to that. Every other person in the world can relate to that. So it's fine if you want to introduce that in that way into Star Trek, but you have to do it right. And I don't think it's, you know, me being a toxic person to simply ask for that. If you want to do that, okay, do it right. Give the respect and, you know, the work that's due to show these characters and to show that development. I think it's insulting to these characters. If I was part of, you know, the LGBTQ plus community, I would be personally offended by that, because it's like, oh, you just made a token character? Like, well, fuck, like, you didn't even give them any kind of respect. You didn't give them any kind of character development, any kind of build up to this. You just shoehorned it in at the last minute, and, oh, you want to make excuses? Oh, there was eye contact in this one scene. Oh, back in Voyager, Seven bit B'Elanna. That's an excuse for why she's a lesbian. It's like she bit fucking B'Elanna because she got infected with a Borg virus that made her have multiple personalities, and she got the personality of a fucking male Klingon who saw a female Klingon and tried to, you know, initiate a mating ritual. That's not a sign that 7 of 9 is bisexual or a lesbian or pansexual or any part of the LGBTQ plus community. There is a way to do it. There is a way to do it right, to give the respect to these characters that they deserve, and the respect that, you know, the LGBTQ plus community deserves. If you want representation, there is a way to do it. There is a way to not shoehorn it in and, you know, do it right. I feel like a broken record, but I feel like this is something that needs to be said, because me getting called names because I forgot to mention something in a tweet that I made in, you know, the heat of the moment as I'm watching a show, and my next tweet was, you know, a few minutes after because I watched the next scene, and me getting called names, saying that I'm not inclusive, saying that I'm, a bigot because I'm not inclusive enough because I forgot to put a fucking word in a tweet that only allows a certain amount of characters, and I didn't think of it off the top of my head. You want to call me those names? I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, my best friend is pansexual. My other best friend is, you know, gay. He's gay. He's been, you know, living with his boyfriend for years now. I'm so happy that they were able to find each other. My other best friend from high school is gay. And I was one of the first people that she talked to when she was discovering the fact that she, you know, because at first she was like, maybe I'm bi, but then we had that conversation because she knows that out of all of the people that we grew up with, I am probably the most open-minded person when it comes to sexuality. I don't care who you love. If it makes you happy, good for you. I'm so happy that you were able to find that type of happiness in your life that people only, you know, dream about, write books about, make movies about. If it makes you happy, then you do you. I'm not going to stand in the way of happiness. Do what makes you happy and be with whoever you love. There is nothing wrong with that. So to get called these names because I left out a word in a tweet, it shows how, you know, just crazy, and I don't like to use that word, you know, too flimsy like that, but it is. I left a word out of a tweet and people went insane, and you know, I'm making this video about it because my channel got started because I ranted about how much a movie hurt my soul and how it just destroyed everything that I had grown up loving. And I had, you know, I'm a very passionate person, and it gets me into a lot of trouble sometimes because I am brutally honest, and you know, honesty to a fault. That usually does get you in trouble sometimes, but my channel got started because me talking about things that I'm passionate about. And Star Trek and these characters are something I'm passionate about. Also, you know, the pursuit of happiness is something I'm passionate about. And people losing their minds over me leaving out a word in a tweet, which if you knew me, if you did any research on me, which these people didn't do, and I will link the tweet feed if you guys want to see it in the comment section of this video, in a pinned comment, so you guys can go check that out if you want to go see this insanity. But me getting called names and getting called a snowflake because I don't know Star Trek, when I literally just spent 26 minutes explaining to you how much I do fucking know about Star Trek and how much I'm okay with people being bisexual, with being gay, with being pansexual, with all of it. If it makes you happy, okay. Do it. Do what makes you happy. It's not my place to judge another person's pursuit of happiness. And so it's something that I feel very passionate about. So getting, you know, called these names simply because I forgot a word in a tweet blows my fucking mind. How this entire society has just jumped on the bandwagon of cancel culture and, oh my god, you said this one thing that one time in that one tweet, you're a Nazi, you're a bigot, you are, you know, a homophobe. It's like, oh my god, if you did any fucking shred of research, you would find out that every single thing you just said about me is not true. So it blows my mind, but you know, I have to vent about it, and then I get it out of my system. And, you know, it doesn't bother me anymore. So, again, if you guys want to go see these tweets, I will link it in the little comment section of this video. It'll be a pinned comment, because if I put it in the description, YouTube can flag it, because if you have any links that link outside of YouTube, YouTube hates it. So, I'm not going to do that. But anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I know it was very ranty, which is, again, that's what my channel got started from. So I hope you guys enjoyed it, me bringing back my heated passion to this, because, oh my god, this kind of stuff absolutely fucking drives me crazy. For people to say those type of things when it's like, Star Trek has always been progressive. Heck, there's an episode which I have been telling one of my friends that makes amazing videos, I'm like, you need to include this in one of your videos. One of the best episodes of Star Trek is there's an episode where Riker is interacting with these aliens that do not have genders. They are, you know, completely gender neutral. They are not male, they are not female, and one character, you know, tells Riker they're on a mission together, and this character is explaining it, and it's non-binary. So Star Trek has always had, you know, non-binary excuse me, I'm starting to get the hiccups, non-binary representation. And this character explains to Riker that once the species had 2 genders, but then they evolved past it, so now there is no genders, but there are some that identify as either male or female, and those people are seen as, you know, that they need help, that they need psychiatric help, that they need to go to hospitals and institutions to fix that because there's some kind of chemical imbalance in their head that makes them think that way. And so Riker finds out that this character actually identifies as female, and he falls in love, and he is willing to risk his career at Starfleet to liberate her from this oppressive society. And at the end of the episode, she realizes, no, my people are actually right. There's something wrong with me, and I would like to, you know, they want to help me, and I would like that help so that way I could become, you know, back one with my society. And the episode ends, and it's a great episode. I think if you really want to see, you know, Star Trek really being progressive and moving, you know, pushing those goalposts, which these people like to do, but this is how you do it in the right way, and introduce those type of themes and story arcs in a show. They've done it. They've been doing it, you know, they did it decades ago, so don't give me this bullshit. But anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I know it was a bit long. I hope you like the ranting style back. But anyways, thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, that's okay too. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. Make sure you click that little bell. That way you get notifications when I do other videos and live streams. And until next time, everyone, have a great rest of your day, and may the Force be with you, because we are really, really, really going to need it. Bye, everyone.